Hello everybody, it's Anne. Welcome to my channel, Meadowbook Journaling. It is Friday again and we are going to be doing another card for the full deck challenge. If you're interested, the first video for this challenge, the first card, is linked below in the description box. This time I have chosen an 8 and now I am just moving on to cover it with some tissue paper. This from a dress pattern. You can get these everywhere super cheaply at a thrift store. You could also, of course, use tissue paper or just whatever you have. I'm then adding a little bit of my Tombow aqua glue and then spreading that around with the glue stick, which is just an Elmer's glue stick. And then I'm just putting my tissue paper on top of there. I find that I love using mixed media and the inks will always just rub off if I do not add some sort of tissue paper on top beforehand. I am just kind of putting it on there so that there's some wrinkles because I like that look, and I'm just cutting around it with my normal everyday scissors. Also, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you can get notified whenever I post a new video. I have so many fun, inspiring things for you next, and yeah, if you could give this video a thumbs up, maybe drop a few comments, that would also be highly appreciated. Okay, so I'm just kind of straightening up the edges to that card using some sandpaper, which I kind of like that method because then I just get all the itty bitty pieces off. And of course, you know, some flipped up, so I added more glue, which is always fine. I think I might also, if you're going to do this method, I recommend like sewing around it maybe, because so that the tissue paper will stay put. I'm just putting some book pages on there just for some added stuff on there, and also I'm adding that little piece of coffee dyed paper there, which I have jazzed up using Louisa Heinzel's method to jazz up scraps. I link that video below for you. I really love this method and I use it a lot, and I think the results are super cool. I have some more of those scraps from when I jazzed up my scraps, and yeah. They were just boring before, but now they're quite interesting, which I love. So I wanted just like an interesting background. I knew I was going to add some inks on top and other mixed media stuff, so I just wanted an interesting background. This, I have to say, is probably my coolest scrap that I'm gluing down now. I just think it's so cool looking. Yeah. I also wanted to cover up that playing card because I don't want any of the playing card to be showing. Yeah, I have this little background paint on the back there, and I'm going to do some stenciling with this little stripe stencil that I got from Walmart. So yes, if you're interested, Walmart is the deal. Now I'm using this forest moss spray that I made myself, just using some of the refiller and some water in that Target spray bottle. The stenciling, as you can see in a moment, did not turn out super great, but it did get the ink on there, which is what I was looking for. And now I'm just pressing it down on there on the background page so it can be more interesting. I'm doing this, of course, on top of that little Shutterfly box because that's how I make sure to not get my surface messy. Now I'm just spraying it a little bit with this Delusion Shimmer Spray, which I'm not totally sure if I loved that or not, but I did turn it into something that I did like, so that's good, right? And of course, for this, if you're trying to do something like this, you could use watercolor, you could use crayons, you could use colored pencils, just anything you have will work. I actually use those Crayola kids markers a lot for crafting. I like them. So really, anything will work. Now I'm just drawing that with my heat gun. Crafting, of course, takes a lot of drawing, especially when you're doing with mixed media, which is something to take into account. So as you can see, I'm now adding some more stenciling to my project with this stencil that I got in the same set as that other Walmart stencil. So both of these are from Walmart, which is actually new for me. I don't usually use these stencils. I usually use my Tim Holtz set. So this is a fun new thing that I enjoy. Now I'm taking some white acrylic paint and my palette knife, a little bit of water just to stencil around a little bit. I think, of course, you could check your local stores like Walmart for stencils like this, because it was like $2 for 4 stencils. So it was a super great deal, and I do like the stencils. Also, in case you are looking for any of the supplies that I use in this video, many of the supplies I use will be linked below in the description box. Here I'm just pressing down that excess of white acrylic paint just to make it a little more interesting. Now I'm adding some paint to the edges. As you can see, the stenciling kind of went bleh. Didn't turn out super great, but it turned out okay. Now I'm taking this kind of older green, olive green acrylic paint, which, yeah, the oil has kind of separated from it, so it's a little liquidy. And then some of this calligraphy ink. It's black walnut calligraphy ink, as you can see from the lid. And that, I think, just added some super grunginess to it, and I loved that. The acrylic paint, though, was not working for me, so I just kind of took some of it off. And yeah, despite all my attempts, I did get some on my desk, my little wallpaper background, which is okay, because I could just wipe it off. Then I'm taking some of this Forest Moss refiller, and then just adding some of that directly to the card, which I do like doing occasionally. And some had like leaked out the edges, which I'm not super happy with. But so I just took some of that, and yeah. Now I'm drawing it with my heat gun. Now the ink was not like drying super well, and I just sprayed it, which like, yeah, it is heavily pigmented, because that is meant to go on your ink pad, which is supposed to last a super long time. So it is heavily pigmented. So I recommend if you use this for your projects, do use less of the refillers, because they are super duper pigmented. Now I'm just continuing to dry it, and as you can see, it's turning out super duper grungy, and I really love that look. I did just pat it a little bit down with a paper towel. And by the way, I do save my paper towel, so that paper towel you're seeing here has probably been reused a lot of times. So I like that, and I continue to do that because it still works just the same, and it's completely fine. I don't need to use a new one every single time. You know, I'm just wiping my surface a little bit, did get a little bit of paint on it. So I was really happy with that background. I loved how grungy it was. There's the close-up, and now I'm just kind of deciding what to do with it next. I found this really cute faux ticket here with a dragonfly on it. Loved that. I grabbed some of this coffee dyed gauze, lightly coffee dyed gauze. I also found some of this handmade paper, and I'm just kind of tearing pieces of that and positioning it. And now I'm just looking through my Tim Holtz sentiments, which are linked below, and I found this really one, which I thought was cute. Be open to whatever comes next. I didn't end up liking that sentiment though, so I do change it. And then I just cut that and kind of positioned it. And then I decided I just wanted to stick right down that ticket, and that is what I did. So yeah, I just stuck it down. It was a sticker, but I added a little bit of glue just because I don't really trust stickers. So I changed the sentiment here, you'll see in a minute, and I also punched a hole and added an eyelet in the corner. So you can see the sentiment is now, if you're lucky enough to be different, never a change. So now I'm looking through my charms just to add one. I found this key charm, which is the one that I actually go with because I really like it. But let me just say it takes me forever to find the right position for it. So why don't we just cut to that part. So here is the finished tag with the charm and the sentiment. I had a great time today, and I hope you will join me next Friday for the next card in the challenge. Bye. Thanks for hanging out with me.